Hello, my name is SCherland, and I am the faculty historian at South Mountain Community College, a 40-year-old institution in Phoenix, Arizona. Today, I thought I would tell you a little bit about this college and our students, but I plan to use their words to do so. I've been a member of the AHA PCB Teaching Committee for a few years now. You might already know that the AHA PCB is committed to advancing teaching and learning in the following ways. One, improving history curriculum at the primary, secondary, and post-secondary levels. Two, recognize excellence in publications, research, teaching, and mentoring. And three, offer resources for creating lesson plans, bringing digital history into the classroom, and identifying key skills history students develop. So when Dr. Mike Green reached out to members of the teaching committee this year, asking us to propose panels and papers that would align with one or more of these statements, I knew exactly what I could offer. I thought I should tell you a little bit about the South Phoenix Oral History Project, a student-founded, student-led initiative to capture and preserve the history of South Phoenix, Arizona. South Phoenix is the historically segregated community of Arizona's largest city. As many of you know, Western cities like Phoenix did, in fact, practice de jure segregation. And as early as 1887, Arizonans of color were forced to live in less resourced parts of the city, south of the railroad tracks, south of the Salt River, and later south of the I-17 freeway. As a result, farmers, laborers, business owners, and newcomers alike started carving out little neighborhoods in what was then a largely rural South Phoenix. For decades, they were cut off from the rest of the city due to geographical, economic, and social barriers. But I won't tell you all of that now. I'll let the students' work speak for itself. See, in 2017, a group of students in my Arizona history seminar decided that they wanted to research the history of South Phoenix. I was relatively new to the area, so I was very excited. I thought, oh, great, as a class, we can research the community surrounding the college that I'm new to teach at. Well, what happened was unexpected for me. I thought the students could focus on kind of looking into the content of the area, and my job would be to guide the research. So the first 2 weeks or so, we spent meeting with librarians, reaching out to the state archives, the newspapers, etc. And what I found very quickly was that no secondary scholarship, or very, very scant secondary scholarship, existed on the history of South Phoenix, which meant that we could do a lot of kind of primary research, but we couldn't really have a jumping off point or a launching point that would make sense for a community college population. So I told the students we should stop. I said, well, let's focus on something else. Let's research on a different topic. But there were 12 of them. They were adamant. No, they said, if we don't research our own community, who will? See, this is a community college anchored in a very tight-knit community. And most of the students, actually every student in that class, was from the zip codes surrounding our college. So they wanted to research themselves, basically, and their own history and their own content, which, I mean, can you blame them? So we pivoted, and the students launched the student-led, student initiative, student-founded, right, student-run South Phoenix Oral History Project. And they did so with a variety of interviews that first year. But more importantly, they built the framework around what later became an internationally recognized and award-winning digital collection, as well as physical collection of archival material. We started out doing interviews, but what we've ultimately become is the leading repository on the history of South Phoenix, which is a relatively understudied place, right? So what's really was interesting to me is, as I was kind of guiding the students and leading this and sort of shepherding the process, because I really wanted them to be at the center of it, it ended up informing the college's own understanding of itself. And that's what this documentary is that you're about to see. You're going to learn a little bit about the origins of the college, which cannot be untethered from the origins, or at least the backstory of the community itself, hence the documentary that you'll be watching. So I believe that our project, the South Phoenix Oral History Project, aligns with the AHA PCB teaching and learning philosophies through the following. One, when we improve history curriculum at the primary, secondary, and post-secondary levels, this is how it's done. We've actually embedded oral history and the study of local history into many of our seminar and survey classes. So for example, I teach a class called Mexican American History and Culture. Well, students in that class conduct primary research that is ultimately published and archived through our website and our publication promotion and scholarship. And they do that on a relevant topic about Mexican American history and culture, for example, in their own neighborhood. So we do the same thing, right? We embed either oral history interviews or analysis or archival research that is pertinent to the community that will later be serving the community or published in one way or another. But we try to make it accessible. And we do that as part of their history class course content. So a student who leaves my class has a little bit more experience with academic research than they would in a different class, perhaps, on their way to another university. 2, recognize excellence in publications, research, teaching, and mentoring. So I think the work that these students are doing is excellent. And their research has informed this massive digital collection. I'll give you the link to that in a moment. They've also informed 2 double-blind peer-reviewed journal articles by 2 separate authors, a forthcoming book by Routledge called Student Teaching Oral History and Ethical Guide, our website, and the documentary you are about to see. We also offer resources for creating lesson plans, bringing digital history into the classroom, and identifying key skills that history students develop. So I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, I think that the best part about this research and how we approach this study of history with our own students is that they are able to apply their knowledge and interests for their own career or personal aspirations directly to the study of history. So for example, this summer, 2 students who are majoring in computer information systems approached me. They wanted to do website upgrades for us, but they wanted to do something kind of with like a historic slant. And they both shared with me at the end of the summer just how significant it was for them to learn about local history in this process. We've had students who are graphic designers, engineers, scientists, future teachers, all of these folks contributing to the collection in their own way. In one case, student work informed the campus's decision to name our athletic complex in honor of the founding president. The signs just went up this summer, and I could not be more proud. You'll also see from the documentary you are about to watch that student research informs all that we do. The students researched the actual material in the documentary. They helped find the photographs. They helped track down interviews. They helped write the narrative. We had a faculty storyteller as the actual narrator, and we had a faculty director who edited the majority of the content, but the students framed the story out and found the content for us. We let them lead the way. It's our job to make that information matter, right? It's our job, both practically and intellectually, to help them see the fruits of their labor. So I've gone on long enough. I want their work to speak for themselves. If you're interested in learning more about our project and our approaches, I have a couple ways for you to get in touch. The first is just email me. My name is SCherland at southmountaincc.edu, and I'll include that in a little message as well. You can also let me know if you'd like to pre-order our book, Student-Centered Oral History and Ethical Guide, due out in the spring by Routledge. And finally, you can check out our multimedia or our digital humanities, our history stuff. We're at southphoenixoralhistory.com. We also have a podcast. So if you're interested in actual oral history, we did a whole season on interviews, and that was during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we interviewed students and teachers during COVID-19 in the very early days. So really in that shock phase. Or season 2, which is really cool, is a daily oral history challenge. So if you want to use those materials or those episodes for your own classes, you're more than welcome to do that. That's a free source. Our podcast is the South Phoenix Oral History Podcast, formerly the More and More Everyday Podcast. It's a whole rebranding thing. But if you just go into Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or any of that, you can find it through South Phoenix Oral History. And with that, I let you enjoy the show, right? It's called Origins, A History of South Mountain Community College. Thanks, everyone. I look forward to hearing from you.